What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Stars Insiders podcast / show. On today's episode, I'll be previewing the Dallas Cowboys matchup against the New York Jets in this week 5 of the NFL season. So without any further ado, let's get straight to it. Alrighty, first up, I want to go over this very extensive injury list for the Dallas Cowboys against the Jets. You have officially ruled out Tyler Guyton against the New York Jets and Kevontae Turpin, and I don't feel too bad about these guys being officially out. I think they're still really good pieces, and they could have very much helped you win this game here. But I feel like you have pretty decent guys that can replace him here. For Tyler Guyton, you have Nate Thomas, who I feel like can come in and play at a pretty decent level. I feel like we saw him play really good against the Packers. He did a pretty decent job in that last fourth quarter bit that they brought him in, and also in training camp I feel like I saw him be pretty solid, and even in preseason as well. I feel like Nate Thomas has played very well, but I don't know if the Cowboys will put him at left tackle, because there's another really big injury in the offensive line that is kind of popped up here out of nowhere in Tyler Smith's knee injury. So I don't know how they're gonna move this. If I'm taking a guess here, it's probably going to be Brock Hoffman at the center. You're going to have right guard TJ Bass. You're going to have Terrence Steele. And then you're going to have at left guard, I've been hearing stuff about Trevor Keegan, who I honestly have no idea who he is. I didn't even know he was on Dallas Cowboys, but they're talking about him possibly being the starting left guard for you against the New York Jets. And I think you probably see Nate Thomas stepping in that left tackle, but nothing has been official yet with how they're going to line up this offensive line against the Jets. And missing Tyler Smith is going to be huge for you, because you're going to be facing against one of the better defensive tackles in the NFL in Quinnen Williams. And I don't know if I'm too confident in Brock Hoffman, Bass, and Keegan really being able to block these guys in the run game, or even in the past game. We saw Brock Hoffman get beat a couple of times by the Packers guys who aren't very good. I think it was Devontae Wyatt and Carl Brooks, if I'm not mistaken. He was getting beat by those guys, and if he's getting beat by those guys, I think it might have a rough day here against Quinnen Williams. So those are really huge injuries for the Dallas Cowboys this game. I feel like Kevontae Turpin won't be too huge for you, because you have sort of a similar guy in Jaden Blue, who I think can step up as a returner, and kind of also a little bit in that receiver type of role, because he is a pretty decent receiving back. But I will talk about him here later. So you have those guys, and then you have Marshawn Nealon, who popped up. You have Kenneth Murray, who popped up, and Miles Sanders, who is probably not going to play, seeing that Jaden Blue is probably going to make his debut as a Dallas Cowboy this week. And then you also have guys returning from IR that have officially opened the 21-day practice window, is Kalen Carson and Jonathan Mingo. So those are not huge, but they should still come in and help the team in a couple of ways here. But that's it. I mean, really, for the injury list is pretty long, pretty extensive, but I'm not super worried about guys like Turpin. But when it comes to the offensive line, I'm pretty concerned, because you're going to be facing one of the better defensive fronts in the NFL in Quinnen Williams and the other guys that they have there. So with that being said, let's get on to this next point. I've been seeing online that Dak Prescott tends to struggle against the pressure inside, and I feel like that's completely bogus, completely wrong, because I feel like I've been seeing him play really good against these guys pressuring him from the inside. I feel like last week we saw him get pressured a decent bit from the inside, and he was able to step up in the pocket and even get outside the pocket and make plays. Honestly, I feel like it doesn't really matter who's playing offensive line for Dak too much. It's still, you still got to help your boy out, but I'm not super worried with Dak Prescott being without some of the guys up front because he's really good. He gets rid of the ball extremely quick. He can also make plays with his legs. He can step outside the pocket and deliver really good throws on the run. So, again, not super worried. Like, I feel like a bunch of people have been saying that they're really worried that Dak Prescott won't have a good game because of those guys up front possibly not being there for him. So that's that. And another thing I want to go over here is I feel like Dak Prescott this game once again is going to have to play at an extremely high level if these guys want to even compete against the Jets, because I know they are 0-4, but I feel like this isn't a team that you should overlook at all. The New York Jets are a very talented team. They have a very talented roster. They have a really good head coach, and they have very good playmakers all around. On defense, they have the linebackers, who are some of the better linebackers in the league. Really good linebackers. Jermaine Sherwood. I think they have Quincy Williams as well. And then defensively, they have, on the defensive line, they have Quinnen Williams. They have Will McDonald, who I'm not super worried about again. But on the secondary, they have very good guys in the secondary. And Sauce Gardner, they're not a team to take lightly. I think the Cowboys can put up points on these guys, but if your defense isn't helping you out, it's going to be another rough game. I think it's going to be a game very similar to the Philadelphia Eagles game, where you're just going to have to worry about the quarterback running on every play. But he's still a good passer. He's a better passer than Jalen Hurts, I feel like. But his legs are going to be a huge factor in this game, I feel like. So I'll talk about that here later. But yeah, you're going to have Dak Prescott play at an insanely high level this game once again, because he'll be without CeeDee Lamb and he'll be without Kevontae Turpin. So, and possibly without 4 out of 5 offensive linemen this week. So if Dak Prescott manages to pull this off, I feel like you just have to give him the MVP already, man. You know what I'm saying? Just give Dak the MVP if he can pull this off once again. I think he can. I honestly think he can, because I feel like he's dealt with worse situations, and I feel good about this. I feel good about Dak Prescott against this Jets defense, and about our guys against this Jets defense. One more thing I want to talk about here quickly is Jalen Tolbert. One thing I just saw here this morning, I'm recording here on Saturday, is that Michael Carter is officially ruled out against the Dallas Cowboys this week. I think that's going to be huge, because you'll probably have Sauce Gardner traveling with George Pickens probably the entire game. And I'm kind of 50-50 with in the confidence in that matchup. I feel like Pickens can make plays on those guys, on Sauce Gardner. We saw him play really good against the Jets last year when he was in Pittsburgh. I think he'll probably have a decent game. I don't think he'll have a game he had like with the Packers, but I think he'll still be a pretty decent factor in this game. But I think, personally, I feel like a huge factor in this game could very much be Jalen Tolbert, because of Michael Carter not being that guy. You'll probably have Tolbert playing the slot most of the game, with Kevontae Turpin being out, or even Ryan Flanoy. But I have a feeling this can be a really big game for Jalen Tolbert here. Again, with Michael Carter being out, with Pickens being traveled, with Sauce Gardner traveling with George Pickens, I think Jalen Tolbert could be due here for a big game against the New York Jets. And if it happens, just know you heard it here first. And I might even put that in a parlay this week. I might put Tolbert over like 50 yards or something, because I really do feel like he's going to have a big game this week, especially coming off of that little bit of momentum he had last week on that big play at the end of overtime, where he just caught a huge ball. I feel like you saw him like kind of turn up here a little bit. So if you can see that confidence kind of roll over into this game, I feel like he could be due for a huge game against the New York Jets. Now, sticking with the offensive theme here, I want to talk about Jadon Blue. I feel like adding Jadon Blue to this offense could be very interesting, And I'm honestly extremely excited to see how Clayton Adams and Brian Schottenheimer use him in this offense. I think he can be a really huge factor in the ground. But you'll probably see still Javonte Williams taking over most, if not all, of the carries. I think you'll have Jadon Blue getting maybe, well, probably similar touches to what Miles Sanders got when he was playing. I think between like 5 to 8 touches as running back, maybe. But I feel like you'll see him have like 4 to 5 receptions if that is how they use him. If they use him kind of like a Kevontae Turpin type of role, you can use him a lot more as a running back because he's a lot more of a tougher guy. So I think Jadon Blue will take over that not Tolbert, though he'll take over that Turpin type of role. One as a returner and also as a runner. You'll probably see him take on those similar types of plays, and I think he could have a pretty good game. I honestly do, but we'll still have to see how they end up using him, and if they really end up using him offensively, or if they just might stick him as a returner the entire game, which I don't think it will be the case, but it could very much happen. So yeah, that's really going to be it with the offense. So a little recap is just we're going to be probably without 4 out of 5 of our offensive linemen. You're still going to be without CeeDee Lamb. You're going to be without Kevontae Turpin. And you're adding Jadon Blue to this offense, which I think could be a very interesting game for this Dallas Cowboys team. So with that being said, let's go on to the next one. Like I was saying earlier, I think this is a team you cannot overlook. I know their record says that they're 0-4, but this is not an 0-4 team. They've lost in really close games to really good opponents. You've seen them make big plays, especially Justin Fields as a runner, which I feel like he's going to be a huge factor in this game. If you can't manage to stop Justin Fields running the football, which I don't think will happen, because I don't feel like you have the guys to do that. I think Maris Leofau can play well, but I'm not super confident in really any of the guys being able to really follow or really spy Justin Fields, because if the Cowboys struggled against Jalen Hurts running the football, which he's a decent runner, but he's nowhere close to the level of a runner that Justin Fields is. If they can't keep up with Jalen Hurts, I don't see them keeping up really at all with Justin Fields. Hopefully they prove me wrong, but this can be like a 100+ yard game, running game for Justin Fields. But not only do you have to worry about him, I think you have to worry about 2 more guys on offense, which is going to be Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. Breece Hall's a really good runner, but he's also a very good pass catcher. He's a really good receiving back. And Garrett Wilson, I feel like he can move him. You can move him anywhere. Garrett Wilson can play the outside. He can play the slot. He can really play anywhere as a receiver. So I feel like if he can just eliminate one of those 3 guys, I mean, honestly, I just want them, if they can eliminate Justin Fields running the football or just limit his running ability, I think there's a pretty good chance that the Cowboys win this game. I think that's going to be the key for this game. Defensively, it's just going to be stopping. Again, I keep repeating myself, but I keep saying it, and I really do think this is going to be the biggest part of the game. Is going to be if the Cowboys can stop Justin Fields running the football. He's been averaging about 50 yards a game as a runner. And he's been playing the Jets, and not the Jets. He's played the Steelers, who have really good defensive ends and really good linebackers. He is played against the Bills, who have really good defensive ends and really good linebackers. He's played against the Buccaneers, never mind. He did not play against the Buccaneers. I'm tripping. And he also played against the Miami Dolphins, where I think we saw him really take over that game as a runner. He had over 80 yards that game. So if those guys can't manage to stop him, I really don't see the Cowboys doing very much. I don't see the Cowboys doing better than those guys, if we're being really dead honest. So yeah, I think that's gonna be huge. I'm gonna keep saying it because I really think that's gonna be the biggest part of this game. That's gonna be the deciding factor. If the Cowboys can't stop Justin Fields, probably not gonna win the game. But if the Cowboys can stop Justin Fields running the football, I think we have a really good chance of winning this football game. So again, just a quick little recap on the Cowboys defensively. I think key factors is gonna be stop Justin Fields running the football, stop Breece Hall as a pass catcher. And speaking of that, Before I go any further here, is the Cowboys struggled a whole bunch against this kind of short game. They didn't struggle really very much, except on a couple of plays. When it came to the Packers throwing the ball down the field, I think they hit on probably less than 5 plays, or really like 20 plus yards. I think most of the yardage was really just throwing it kind of short and kind of like that middle to intermediate range. Just the Cowboys were getting killed by that. The screen game, the Packers use that kind of as like a little extension of the run game, and I think that's gonna be huge again for this game because the Jets have guys to run those types of plays. I feel like Breece Hall is really good at running those types of plays, kind of like those screen passes, kind of like those types of read options. That's gonna be a huge thing too. Their read option with Justin Fields and Breece Hall. So I really wouldn't be surprised if they just kill us and they end up putting up a whole bunch of points. But I'm a little more confident in this defense than I was the past couple of weeks, because I feel like we limited Jordan Love's ability to run the ball, and same with Caleb Williams. But I think that Bears game, we kind of focused too much on stopping Caleb Williams from running the football, that we kind of just gave up huge plays. So if they can keep a sort of a balance defensively with stopping the quarterback running and limiting the big plays from the offense, I think there's a chance. I feel like they've showed improvements against those certain situations. So that's pretty much it. What I have for the Cowboys defensively, and just got some a little bit of a breaking news here. Is the Cowboys are officially placing Malik Hooker on injury reserved, and they're gonna sign Elijah Clark to the active roster. I talked about this in the comments of one of my posts. Some dude asked if I think the Cowboys will make a move at safety and trade for a guy, and I was like, probably not. I think they'll probably first look at Wanye Thomas and Marquise Bell, and if those guys don't work out, I think they'll probably go towards starting, maybe not even starting, but kind of adding Elijah Clark to that whole little safety type of carousel there, and it looks like it's happening. And they also elevated Jalen Brooks and Jalen Cropper from the practice squad. So, but yeah, I really wish they elevated Trayshawn Holden, because he's a really good playmaker. He probably has some of the better hands in the team. But yeah, that's gonna be it for that little breaking news type of segment there. And that's gonna be it for today's episode. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Please drop a comment. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Let me know what y'all's thoughts. What y'all think the Cowboys have to do to win this game, or if y'all think the Cowboys can even win this game. So, and thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, again, comment. I'll see you boys in the next episode, man. God bless each and every single one of y'all, and peace.